find our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild, and we have wonderful guests. And today I have with me a favorite, Jenny Lee, and she has some interesting things that she has gotten downloads on, and she will be sharing that with us. So, and any future predictions. So let me bring her on.
Hey guys.
Hi, Jenny.
How's it going?
How you doing?
Good.
What anything exciting?
Not sleeping much. I'm not getting much sleep, but because it's very consistent of information, and it's unpredictable as and when it's going to come, because there's such an excitement that you could feel on a spiritual level that's there. They're excited themselves. So getting as much information as you can, but your mind can only take so much at a certain one time. So I think I would call this, we're in the times. We're standing at the cliff. We're on the verge. We're near the end.
At the purposes.
Yes. The whole process is here on this. And a lot of us have gotten people ready for this moment in time. And that's why I said today, they're like, when's it coming? When's it coming? But now when it gets here, people are like, oh my God, it's here. And that's why I said, the quote I use, standing in the fire and walk through the fire. You have to walk through it. You have to be not in a fearful place. You've got to know that your own instinct, your own capability can get you through this. But you're going to rely on that again completely. And you're not going to have anything of a view coming in and trying to intercept that. So this is where the intuition is strong on this process of where we at on things. And so, and Gail, I brought up this information before, but I think I've talked to you about it before, where you do have, where I'm seeing it's confused, is I call it right-wing disinformation. And this is where it's going to meet in the road, because those people at the end have to be right on this stuff. You know what I'm saying? They got to back up what they're saying, because it's going to lead it to either a money bag situation, or it's going to lead you to the truth of the light. We're at the end of the road on this.
Yeah, it's going to split.
Yeah, it's going to split. And it comes down to the truth. And they know inside them purely of the truth. If they're in a fear, if you're seeing them in a fear process right now, you're seeing any right-wing disinformation in a fear process, I can tell you they're not listening to the true information, the true light that's given in that information. I'm just telling you, because it always kind of shepherds you, it kind of guides you, it kind of delivers you. It delivers you from the truth, of knowing the truth. And that is always a meter of us checking in and making sure that it's right. Is this right? To make sure that it's right, we double check. We check many times. But if you're coming to a dead-end road with this society and that whole money process, because it's going to end. So if that's got you to that point, that's not what's going to see you through it. And I'm saying that's going to fall and deteriorate. and what you should have been depending on and getting intuition on, and having that full choice of feeling guided by the light and verifying that information, it could be a scary situation. And I'm starting to see they are in a product pushing because they know the verge of the end is coming. And so their capability, what they're able to do, it will be shut down. And this is where I want to go with this is I've been saying that the media, anybody that's put disinformation out there has put confusion information, has led people to the cliff. In any process, is going to come, that cord is going to be pulled. And so I get tons of emails about, is this person legit and this person legit? Well, you know what? You're going to witness it no matter what now. If you had instinct about someone, you're going to witness it no matter what, because they're not going to be plugged back in. They're going to disappear. And so, and this is the...
So some of these big name, big follower, big product pusher that I couldn't even compete with if I wanted to.
Yeah, the big following is pushed by the agenda too, you know. And like I said, always do your research on what they're pushing and where that leads to a legit source, or why are they pushing that product. And I don't watch TV. I don't, you have to get something nearly in front of me. Someone has to send it to me to pay attention to it. And so I noticed over the weekend, there's massive confusion again on purpose. And that's why I always have that quote, standing in the fire and walking through, and don't go in fear, because that's what they want. We're at the verge right now. So, and you're seeing these ones that's supposed to have information, they're in fear. You're seeing it from them. So, so now this is the stuff when it comes down to that, why you were here, why you were born, what you were led to do. You're standing in the truth right now, in the pure truth of it. And if you're not, that is a scary, scary position to be in right now, because there's no way to go.
Yeah. Maybe that's why some experience so much fear.
Right. Because when you're pulling from a source of light, true light, you're just led by the next thing they need to present. When you're led by ego and you're led by the flesh needs, they're always searching for the next trough to feed off of. Okay? That's the way I'm going to say it. Okay. And you don't worry.
I guess that works.
It is. Well, you know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying, as in
I do.
overly excessive, overly. And it hurts my ears and it hurts people's ears. They're just like, give us the truth. You have to go wait through an hour of a show to get a 5% of the truth with them. And it's excruciating for the people to listen to it. They're like, I just want to talk about what's going on and stop doing this. And we haven't led to this point. I'm gonna put this in a very way of understanding. We are not led to this point that at the verge of all this, the 144 are not card readers. Okay? If they were true in what they got, they would have been listening to their instinct a long time ago. They don't need it, because by now they know. By now they know. And so that is another propaganda. Because I asked Spirit, distraction, but I asked Spirit, he goes, when have we ever told you to pull cards on any of our stuff? Never. When you got cards that are 36, you got 36 answers in there. You got, I think there's a deck of 74. And you can put them together. It's just another bag of props. Okay. So I'm saying anybody that's doing that now, put it aside, because this is the time you need to shine in the light of the true ability. So do it. So back it up. So because people need the truth now, they need the raw truth now. So I'm just telling you, I'm saying this because we're at the end. We're at the end and they want it. They want the truth. So, and this goes back to what I've been talking to everybody about, is the sound of the silence. The sound of the silence is that inner voice, that inner frequency that's connected to source. And just before I got on tonight, I just told you this, and I've been telling people, listen to the music, the sound of the silence. So I have a book that it's a prophet book that I always pull to when I think, what's the message? What's the message again? And it backs up what I've been trying to tell people, listening to that inner voice, because that inner voice with Creator is going to come online. And this is all the buzz to get you distracted, not listening to the silence. And so it is in the wind and the earthquake, or it is in the fire, but is a still small voice. You can hear in a still small voice in the midst, in the wind of the earthquake.
Sometimes it's just like you just know something.
Right. And the fire does not get you caught up in the dramatics, but it can hear the still small voice. Sometimes as seers, we have to be quiet to hear the voice of what Creator is saying. I can hear only when I am quiet down to listening to what He is deeply saying within us. Get quiet. Let God speak to you in the still small voice. Now we got this distraction, and now I'm telling people, and I keep telling them, pull back completely. And you see more scrambled information that's just more confusing, and now they're in panic mode. Pull back. Stillness, quietness, voice. Listen. Rebalance. I don't look at anything unless someone presents it to me. I couldn't tell you what is going on in the 3D process right now, because all I do is get what is.
It's a bunch of gobbledygook, just like you said, because I got turned off to it all weekend for quite a few days here. It's just, this is the same old, all same old crap, different day, maybe said a different way. But, the same push, the same propaganda. It's just
right. And we're at these important times. That's why I'm kind of being a little more progressive about it. And I've had people that have these platforms that reach out to me and say something, and and I'm like, you should have been doing this a long time ago. You can't just jump on the bandwagon right now, and because it's not profitable to pick the dark anymore. That's what's changing. It's not profitable anymore to work with the dark. It's not profitable to make money off the dark anymore. And now it's switching to the light. You can't change the field that you've already decided, because they already know what you've already chosen. They already know what you've already sacrificed. They already know how many you gave up. So you can sit more comfortably. But, and I'm talking about each child, each innocent blood, just the hair of that blood, just the thought of that as an idea is going to be judged for that. And looking the other direction and acting like it was never important. We're down in it.
Somebody has a question about why would they push the illness pets? There's a lot of innocent humans too, and children. But they're going after the pets too.
Well, because we find our love is very enormous toward the pets. And that's another thing that's dear to our heart, that reflects in love and how loyal those animals are. And because what it does, it puts us down in a very deep area.
Yeah, animals know what unconditional love is.
Yes, they do. They do. So I think for the next week, I've been telling people this, is I said the names and the brands that you see, you will not be able to trust again. As you see them in their shining light, you're never going to be able to trust that again. So those brands and those products in that way are going to start to come down. The media, and I mean the YouTubers too, besides the media, that product is going to be shut down. In a dismantling phase, because they need, and I've been talking about, they need to be shown for the misinformation
that they agreed to do, and the censoring that they've done. I mean, they've taken down my whole channel, and I didn't even have that many people.
Right.
And then since then, I managed. It took me a while, but I finally got YouTube channels up. The Gail of Gaia channel, where some people are on now. I got 2 strikes on that channel already. Okay, 1 more strike and they'll wipe that channel out.
Right.
And Freedom of Range, I still can't go live on that because that's got a strike on it. So that's like, all I can say is there must be some truth coming out here. That's why they keep taking me down.
Well, you're seeing a lot of, I'd say one island is getting maxed out of people that are going to be sent there, like the Oprahs. So now I think they have a big old avenue for the media process now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like I said, that's where I want you guys to hold your breath. And when you're like seeing something gone, it's just not meant to come back. You know, that's the whole thing. And that's why with, thinking on your own, processing on your own, okay, that wasn't meant to stay up, and that was part of the bad system, and now it's gone. So I just don't get into that panic process. And then I keep getting a lot of confirmation that these buses are in the cities, that people are starting to see them. Like I said, the white buses with the darker windows. They're starting to show up, and that was part of the filter system of deciding how they were going to locate information, how they were going to get information out of them, and how they need to be assessed. So I think that process is coming. It is not good to be working for the dark right now. There is no benefits.
Their luxurious lifestyle is coming to an end.
Yes, which it should.
Yes.
It should have a long time ago. But they're
strong. It's amazing how are. That's a big part of the problem.
Right.
The numbers are.
So I don't think
great.
there's any. We're given. You literally are given a choice now. Here, it's literally the light of the dark, and each human being has to choose that. And the ones that don't think they have a choice, we're talking about the 3D process. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go into it. I'm going to hide in my house. Well, at that point, you've already chosen that you are in denial of that. So you might have to relive everything over again in a different way. But
so are you saying you think that some people will be taken to another planet?
Yes, I've been thinking that for a while. Because you don't get to another level of something if your conscience or your mind can't even accept the veil of understanding at that point. You have not learned your lesson. What planet in this universe wants them? That we couldn't get them to listen here in a higher conscience beings.
And they kept giving them a chance and a chance and a chance and a chance and a chance.
And us.
Like,
5D.
You're done. We tried. Someone's asking.
I mean, I'm just telling you, we have had great patience. The great patience. And then there's been those days. Why are we doing this again? you since day one, and since we were seated on this planet, since day one, and now we're at the point where those ones that have been doing the work behind the background for years and years and years and years are seeing that light going, oh wow, this is like, it's coming to an end. It's coming to a big end, which is good. It's great. But it's like I said, once you see a reaction, something goes down. When you actually see something go down and you're not seeing it back in, don't go into that fear. Go, okay, I got to breathe this through. It's part of the process. We have to get through it. So, and that's what
I think that's why some of the light workers have been through so many what you might consider negative experiences. It's kind of for
right
where things are going and helping others
I
and all that.
I often say, God, I got a lot of stones and knives in my back, and it's tired of carrying it. But we're still standing on that path, and we're still going forward. And I'm literally telling you, at the end of this, we will come to our knees. And it's about being graceful to the fact that it's to an end. But this is the thing that people need to really start to think about, is the next path that they have for themselves, the next journey that they have for themselves as this changes. And I've been helping people. I've been getting a lot of calls on, I need to know that path to my next door for humanity. There's a vast situation where they have like, okay, this is, my needs are going to be met. Now I need to know what I'm supposed to be doing and serving man through. That's important. So I'm helping answer those questions of what category I see them going in and how they can start in that path and serving humanity in that way. So it's important that they get to that point, because I say at the end of this, to a certain point, especially when these new devices come out that are healing the body, the healers are going to be so busy, because that natural pathogen situation is going to occur, and people are going to want to understand that more. And I think that's coming, along with the ones that are holding the podium have been here for a while. So, we're getting to that point. Okay,
what are your thoughts about the solar flash? Somebody's asking.
It's just an energy, like I said, that cream fog that's coming to Earth, and that the dark cannot breathe in it, and that it might turn to an ash. So no, I don't believe that. Not in that way, not in that form of a 3D that they describe it as, and not in a fear process.
Christine here said something that they just did a big expansion at the G Island. I heard that too.
Yeah, so. I did too. I heard that, and I think they're making a way for the mass of media.
Yeah. There's a lot of people going that way.
If you look at the levels of things that have to be dismantled, and I mean they're kind of like the weakest, and they're kind of at the bottom of there. And so now that they're going to fold quick and hard, So that's going to be shown pretty strong.
So you're saying too that it's accelerating?
Yes, it's accelerating. But I could tell you the ones in the military that are involved the way they are involved, I don't think that they think it's going to be like a hard chore to take them down. You know what I'm saying? I just think they're loading them up on the boats and the buses and the planes.
That's good. Jay Thought is asking, what is the difference between a prayer prayed and a spell cast?
Well, I don't believe in spells. A prayer for me is an energy in a direction. When people say, well, I'll pray for you, I'm like, it does not mean the same if you don't know the direction and the power of the energy behind it. So always when you need something, request something, know the exact direction you're going in and exactly what you need. And that's what Spirit has showed me on the other side. spells are powerless. That is
especially now, huh?
Yeah. Especially now, it's like a little tiny parasite that can't manifest. So yeah, it's not. So I'm shocked, and once I'm looking at a direction I need to go in to get answers, and once I do it, the reaction that it can happen so fast, because it has to do with the fact that you're not doubting what you're asking. So just keep going forward.
Somebody said that the energies this week feel better and less like a beating.
Yeah, I know. It's been people, I got to tell you, and there was some physical stuff that was coming at you, and you just got to identify it and recognize where it's coming from and how it's getting in your back, your buttocks, your shoulders, your neck, your head. You got to figure that, and then isolate that area, and then figure out what the physical process that's trying to do. I've been getting a lot of readings for that too, like what is going on with me, and I'm like, it's all how you're seeing it.
Here's a question for you. Hello, beloveds. Is Spirit telling local and non-local creatures and intelligences to stay hidden? Why so? Are we all paying for past karma because of our dark side past lives and choices we made?
Spirit telling the local, non-local creatures to intelligence to stay hidden.
I don't
well, I mean,
that
if you're talking about nature, no, because they're, like I said, that inner voice, they're listening. They're going to go with how the wind turns. This is the thing, karmatic. In your path, as you get to a certain lesson, if you can look back and understand the lesson, there's no karmatic you have to carry in. See, that's a man process. And the only difference I deal with, I'd say, something that needs to be brought to the light is looking at it and saying, okay, I don't feel any ill will, but I need to bring this to the light and show you. So you don't add your own emotion to it. When you do that, you can give it to creativity in an authoritative way, but it's not yours to carry. So you have to understand, people that have been drug addicted, that's been alcohol addicted, that's had a bad life, has been abused. You have to understand each one of those individuals have walked in a path, but at each one of those paths that they have learned, there's a lesson they valued from coming from it. So, and then not until you can look back and understand the value. So, man's opinion on that, and then Spirit's opinion on how they got there to teach others, to show others their path. So no, I don't think no one can judge that until you're in it, of the knowing that the lesson you've learned from it, is it karmatic in that way? It is, to the point of the value of the lesson. And you come out of it inspiring, and you do better because of that lesson.
And that's not going to happen again. Kind of one of those deals.
Right.
Or I'm not going to go through that again.
Right.
That was enough. That's why I would really try to get right. You know, if you haven't already, I guess.
Well, you know
like
what you're seeing now is
before.
What's surfacing. You got really the really good, humble people that's really showing, you know, how they're trying to get the value out. But you are really seeing the narcissism. It's a new level. It's about them. And what's happening, I'm going to talk about this, Gail, is the fact there's an epidemic of a split going on right now. The awakened and the ones, if you're with a spouse, then they're not awakened. There's a split going on that's big time. Because we mostly value our soul and the peace that comes with that. And if that is a redundant energy that does not bring us peace, we're going to pick the peace. And we refuse to stand and still in that darkness. and live by those misguided information. But you're seeing an epidemic of massive leaving those relationships because they cannot breathe in it, they cannot exist in it and not be a part of it. And I'm seeing it everywhere, because like I told you, I said there's that lower level, it's not awake, there's a mid-level that's awakened and they're going their path, and there's a higher that's already been in it, and they are shaking off the lower. They're like, we're done, we're going with this new energy and we're putting everything behind it. You're seeing it. It's amazing. Part of the path.
Cool. Somebody is asking if you can touch on the personal pods she's spoken of before and if there are any updates.
So the pods, because there's the ones I talked about where I drew the pods that look like they're round where you can live and it contains everything and everything's a higher dimension. I'd say replicas and futuristic where you can move them anywhere. And then there's the pods for healing. And I like I said, I'm 100% sure that the military is completely in control of that, and they will decide when that is presented, and that I do not feel that will be cost to any one human. So I think if you look at in the middle of the night, 2 a.m, and keep an eye on your hospitals, what they're bringing in late at night.
That's I read that by from a reliable source that med beds are on the move, the ones that are completed.
And I said that doesn't take much to bring them in and to assemble them. So I think we're in the process.
Well, so many things have been talked about for years now and still haven't come to fruition. So that's also why people keep asking, like, where's Nassar Gassar at? Where's this, when's this going to
Well, I did see that certain people that decide to push products out that made you sick in the past are starting to shut down in cities, and those manufacturers of substance will no longer be around.
Okay, somebody says, seems the banking system has started its collapse this weekend in Europe. I bet it's going to be an interesting week in terms of finance.
I do, but I keep telling people that I think you have your 3D view of things and accounts that's attached to everything, and then I believe there's a 4D, the real ones in the background, and it's not dismantling and things just falling apart. And I mean, as in for the people, I feel that if you look at things a different view, you're going to see something appear that's already established for you. So you need to look at this concept in 2 different ways. The 3D, does something have to go down to witness? Yes. Do we all have to be a process of that? Yes. But I think it's that process of holding your breath, and all of a sudden something else new is established in the replacement of it. So, and that's where you're seeing kind of the panic when everybody says anything about the financial system and not being to have access or anything like that. I just think they look at these third world countries and seeing the money on the streets and there's no value. I mean, I think they're kind of the fear. And where does that fear come from? So this is higher technology. Like I've always said, 3.5 years ago, they showed me a view of that system has its own conscience, universal, and that will be implemented in the way it needs to. What the fear is, the negative won't be able to have the source of it. That is what's really the fear. That's where your fear comes from. Is it the ones that are just trying to make it? I don't think so. I think it's the ones that won't be able to make it. Won't be able to exchange their money, won't be able to cash in their corporation.
Find out what it's like to not be able to pay their mortgage or the rent or some nature.
Well, it's a totally different system, but the corrupt system is being a dismantled process.
So many people didn't realize how corrupt it really was. I just brought this one up because another Jenny, she's explaining about when you talked about relationships, how you got one awake and one's not awake, and there's going to be a split. It's almost inevitable.
It is. It's literally your soul. Your soul cannot reside in just say an elevator of energy that is suffocating you, because you know that energy is wrong and the view of it is wrong, and your soul desires and seeks fresh air and a clear path.
It's like, I just want peace.
Peace.
Peace. Let's see, what do we have here? Here's somebody saying, Matrix game. What did you notice about the banking system? Oh, I'm in the Netherlands, and I can tell you something right here in Sedona and Cottonwood in Arizona. Both the branches of Bank of America are shut down.
Good.
And I'm sure there's more forthcoming.
So you see the brand again. We go back to the brand. What that brand is connected to, it's just not going to be trustworthy. So they're going to have to change the facelift of them. The whole face. I mean, I don't know if I had a lot of quantum money, and would you trust a Bank of America with it? No.
No, I don't think I trust any bank with any money right
just
now.
telling you.
Mine is gone as fast as I get it anyway, just covering, basic needs. So, at least it's not some of these people are going to lose thousands, millions, maybe even more.
Well, it makes you question. I think the ones that's in fear is the wealthy. The ones have stood on the backs of others. They're in fear.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not a good place to be. So we'll see.
Yeah. Patricia says, I think a lot of us who have worked quietly on our own for the good of all are ready to see shift. Personally, and the whole thanks. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'm so
right.
ready.
Right.
Oh, wow.
I think, you know what it is? It's just taking a deep breath into some fresh air for once. And I mean in the way of peace. There's and
peace is right next to enlightenment. I keep bringing that up because it's on the vibrational scale of consciousness. Peace is higher than love. It's love, joy, peace, enlightenment.
Well, I'm actually in the steps and ready for every animal not being in a fear process, not feeling hunted. I think that's going to be a rude awakening to understand that those creatures and the way their spirit is and how they evolved and all that's as important too, and how man looks at animals as a means.
It's just an animal.
Yeah, and it's not that way.
I've heard people say things like,
well, animals are really good at knowing that a human is a completely horrible human.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I worry if my dog doesn't like you, I'm worried. I'm leery of you.
Right. Exactly. So we're in the days of reckoning. We're in the days of the view of accepting the truth, of processing the information and bringing it in. And if you get yourself ready in a way of, I'm not going to be surprised by anything. I'm going to accept things as they are going to be seen and get out of this idolizing process. I think you'll be fine. You know, so it is a chess game that's about to fall.
Okay, someone mentioned they had we had our internet go down for over 8 hours the other week here where we live in Queensland, Australia. There was reason was they were changing the system, plus many banks are closing. So it's happening in Australia too. Our internet hasn't gone down here yet, but they keep threatening that.
Well, I mean, to bring in something good, you're going to have to shut. Remember, I think I told you this. You have to take the power from it and not unplug it again. You know what I'm saying? So the negative has no way of reestablishing that connection, re-implementing it. And so when the good internet, I'll call it, say it, and they're going to be all like, reject, sorry, you don't get the power, you don't get to plug in, you don't get to push that agenda no more. It's gonna end like that. So they will no longer have their voice.
I heard or from a couple of different sources that a really bad entities that are not of human origin have been removed from the planet.
I believe there has been in some regions. I do still believe there are always going to be some bearing down somewhere, hoping that we just forget about them. I believe
they don't get found.
We're at a good capacity of the light, but there is still some. There's always the one that there's a couple that are hiding. So, how will you know that? How is that going to be seen? You're going to see, like I said, true lights above you that feels they are safe enough to come and mingle among us and present themselves in a natural way, in a natural form of things. I'm telling you, I've told you this before, that if you see lights in the sky and stuff changes and you see tons of them, I think society has tried to push the fact that we would be in such fear over them. And I'm going to tell you, they are going to run to them and saying, we trust you better than we do these guys. So we are all aboard you replacing them. I'm telling you. They're ready for it.
That's true. What about human abilities? Do you have any?
Well, I think as you come online, and it's cutting that switch of the media, pushing that aside, and then going with your own intuition. As any person, when I teach class, that they don't know what they have until they're in a situation where I'm testing them, and then they realize I didn't know I was able to do this because it's been so dormanted. There's that natural instinct we all have. Can you bring that online? Yes. And then like they're doing is they're starting to step in their path of giving to humanity. So I believe that's, analyzing it, putting it together. And so I'm about getting them on their path and getting them going, and then be able to see it on their own. That's what matters.
One of the things that, that's the first, those steps have to be taken before anything else can actually happen. I think they might be referring to, I've heard several podcasters talk about our DNA being activated or getting superpowers more so than what we've
I do not believe it's DNA whatsoever. I believe it's our spiritual
connection
system that already has a code within it that is coded. They show me on the outside with a barrier with like gold particles around it. So it's not the blood, the bone, and the flesh. Every time I go up, I don't see them. I don't see a human in a human form. I see them in a spiritual form. I see animals as they pass in their form and their spiritual form. There is no blood, bone.
What are they, translucent?
It's not going.
Are they translucent? What
Yes,
you see?
they are. They're like jellyfish. They're like very thin, but there's a frequency of energy that can be like several distance away, and that vibration, that tone, and that frequency is with them, because it's that limited veil of understanding. We've been programmed to only see humans at the importance in that human form. Just like I crack the hell up when I see these Pleiadians they display, and they look like freaking models out of a spaceship. You know, I crack me up because I'm like, they don't look like that. Do they not see their life? Do they not see their high conscience, their form? They got blonde hair and dreadlocks, and they got off GQ.
Perfect.
And I find it very
perfect
funny.
bodies, perfect hair.
Oh my God.
Everything.
I'm like, talk about a trap. And I'm telling you, let me tell you, ladies, you're going to be disappointed because it's not about that. But you'll be more attracted to the spiritual energy than what they look on the outside. I'm telling you, it is not Fabio in space, okay? It's not happening.
So this comment is, some are stating that people are disappearing. We were just talking about that earlier, actually.
I believe so.
Will this become more prominent for people to see? And is this the split coming to physical fruition?
It is. And I've had a lot of women go, is there a list? Is there an address? I can give them my husband's cell phone number, address. And a woman asked me that question. And give them a direction to go and to pick him up. I'm like, I don't think so. No.
She doesn't think he's going to make it, right?
Well, I think, okay, I want you to understand that sometimes in this process of, and I'm talking it's on vice versa on the men's side too, where they have a wife that's in the normie. And I've had people go, I don't think I can make it through 10 days with them. Somebody's leaving here in a body bag. You know, having a person that's awakened and a person that's in the house that's the normie. And you spend 10 days. Okay, let me give you an example of 10 days. You shut the TV off for the normie. They don't know what to do. They don't know where they're going to do. They don't know how to spend their time. They don't know what they're going to talk about. I'm just telling you. Then the high frequency person, I tell you, is reading books, going outside and meditating, listening to the energy, listening to the vibration. And the normie is just going to lose their mind. Okay? I'm just telling you. There might be some people walking out with body bags because there's only so much a marriage can withstand when you are 3D and 5D. It's a killer.
Yeah. Very important consideration for sure. Let's see. Here's another question. Is Ishmael correct when saying we are going to live for hundreds of years after a major celestial event? Are beings coming to assist in this event?
Okay, so that is a good question. So they have already said that they would always assist. And I believe that they're just, I think I've already said that in one of my previous shows with you about them, that we can't, remember I said about the purple clouds, pink clouds, they're just right under the veil of that. We're not seeing in the perception. That's already in there. And then I believe what they told me, thinking, you know, that's a long time to live. But if you look in the past, they did live 200 or 300 years. So I think that is a true statement in that process of I saw it, the council, it's a whole family unit. Each one has something to give to assist in bringing this information to beings in their veil of understanding. So he is right on that.
Okay. Somebody is asking, will we see Trump's court case in March? Is that March? Or if everything will fall before?
It'll fall apart because that's a show, and that is the Shepherds fake court case. Yeah.
What is March?
I think it's March. I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
Because I think most of the judges and the people are involved are at a fun island.
Yeah, pretty incredible. The audacity.
Go to realrawnews.com and go read some information.
Yeah, really. Realnews.com, definitely. Wonder if we'll see Trump's court case in March or if everything will fall. Oh, did I just have that one up there? Sorry about that. I thought I put that one down. Someone's talking about how they had to cut contact with their parents and sister because of the this relationship.
Can you imagine what Thanksgiving was like this year for some families? I thought it was back years ago on The Awaken and the ones with the Democrats. But can you imagine now? I mean, it is literally like, are you blind? You know, I could just see, and to believe that Biden and all this stuff, I'm telling you, I don't know if there was food served or thrown. I'm telling you, there was some Thanksgiving, but there was no thanks in it.
Food fight.
You're right. So I'm just saying that, because that, like I said, that's up to a capability, or you get to the door and they know that you're a right wing, or one that's awake, and they're like, now you can't talk about that. Don't bring that subject up, because we as weak-minded people cannot take a different reality than what we've been programmed to receive. So I'm just saying, I would love to hear the stories on some of these Thanksgivings, especially at this time, what's happening to the world and where everybody's in the reality of understanding. Oh boy, that must have been.
Have you seen any of the little video shorts on? They come up on X, or they come up on different channels too sometimes, where they have these little clips where a lot of times it's teenagers or adults or whatever, and they're fighting and they're beating somebody like crazy.
Yeah, I just think that's the program. They don't accept the reality of things, and you see it so much on the left wing, how they get away with things, and they just think, well, it's society will allow me to go wherever crazy dream I have, whatever I want to be. Well, I believe that that's coming to a big halt, because they're going to go back to say, okay, well, we're going to get a new futuristic psych evaluations, and we're going to analyze this not in a psychology reference of human analyzing. We're going to a higher understanding to analyze this, and then we'll decide where you're able to be safe in, live in, and what type of healing pod you need to be in.
Okay. Any news on Drake? People ask me this all the time. I'm not his caretaker. But anyway, he is fine. He is taking a break. He's, call it a sabbatical, or call it maybe he wants to retire. He doesn't want to interview right now. And he's made that very clear to me. So, and he was very sick for a while. So that's the latest story I got. When he feels well enough or energetic enough, he'll be back on. But
right.
I don't know. I don't have an answer. He is okay. Well, somebody's saying it took years to get out of the fear of being stalked. Was that from a relationship that you were in? Maybe.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Maybe Tammy, you might like to explain that a little more. Her intuition has increased substantially.
Well, that's good.
Let's see. I just said Derek doesn't want to come on. Doesn't want to come on. Okay. I'm just seeing if there's any more questions here. You had talked about, before we go to more questions, maybe while people think of some more questions, you talked about you had gotten a download about 144. Did you want to bring that up?
Yeah. So don't look for seals. Don't look for horns. Both of them are the angels in the frequency, and each one holds a climate and vibration and is written on the back, which is the back of their chair within the temple of God. So I'm just telling you, I guess there's a lot of people who were asking about it, and they had to explain to me. They're like, everything is frequency, energy, is something that is already reside within the 144, and they are already here and there. So which is here on this earth and up there. And so we want to think that these, what you say, Catholics that have these red seals, and they think it's get out of the physical process of this. But also they talk about who's worthy, for the last seal. And the last seal is humanity. What is worthy? Humanity is one together, serving as that last energy that opens up everything and opens up that heaven energy. So I want you to look at things as an energy, as a relation to strong beings that are capable holding climates and that are worthy to work in this. And that's why I'm saying each one holds a podium, each one holds a light. So, and that's what they were saying. And then with the loud voice, instead of horns, it's angels have this loud frequency within them. If anybody's heard them on recordings or anything, their frequency, they don't need a horn to get that process past the situation. What is written on their back is like all around throne of God. And what is written in, basically, because I see these chairs that are higher in the back, and what is written on the back of them and basically it's kind of like when I talked about the cloaks. Each one has their own cloak that they carry, and each of that cloak has their past and what they have gone through. And it's kind of like the same thing. So I think on the biblical end of getting out of the fact that this is something physical is going to bust, but it all is energy in every way, and frequency and knowledge in every way. And like I said, who is worthy in that situation to me is humanity, period, as a collective of energy. So what I'm saying is you need to look to the skies because the energy is already there. We're in these times, these vast times. There's nothing left to look at on the process. If they wanted to know something about the seals, if you go back to my the first process I did, the keys, and in the keys are circle, and in the circle they had these attachments that would drop as man control, money control. It had all those type of seals inside of it at the time, and then I saw each one falling through. I have those. I've been talking about those keys forever. So anyway, so it was the most loyal. You had to prove yourself in the loyalty of this process. Just like I think we're in a firmament, and there are the waters above, the waters below. That's in a biblical sense too. It's something that the church does not want you to look at, nor study on this process. So the thing is we're in these times, the end times and going into the golden ages. And to get
the
into
end of the bad stuff, the
right.
corruption.
Now, what is the qualification to break the seals? And I think the seventh seal is one of the angels that's standing in that element, that frequency, and then humanity calls in, and humanity had to choose humanity. That's the frequency. That's the last part of that. So when we get stuck in the physical too much, and I mean, there was stuff I pulled. I was looking. I have a book on the Dead Sea Scrolls, and then I was looking at the stuff from the seals and the Lamb of the Seal many, many years ago, and I wrote all the stuff down, and I'm just like, God, I forgot about all this stuff I did on this.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that funny? And then they're like, hey, it's now, pull this stuff up and look at this and know that it's all from every level is energy. Every level is just like us, where we've done our work and have worked up to seeing the truth. So now looking up high, and that's I keep saying, keep an eye on the sky. Keep an eye on the temperature. Keep an eye on the oceans. Keep an eye on what's going to surface. Keep an eye on earthquakes. All this stuff is a reaction to energy. That our truth is coming to the crust. Is our truth, are we upside down? Are we actually literally on the bottom or on the top? That'll come to the surface. And then on the side of us, where is Mars? Is it, in this, I call it space colorblind. Stars are only black and white. Give me a break. Once that breaks, I'm saying stars are black and white. Okay.
I got to bring this one up because you said that. But first, I wanted to mention Lenore said the fights save on Christmas gifts. Haha.
Oh, yeah.
The fights you have at Thanksgiving will save you on Christmas gifts.
Isn't it funny? I mean, literally, it is. It's like, it is our DNA obligation that boys that been into a slavery, where you put these family members together on each side. All it is one gossip process and bitching and complaining about each gift they got and which one has more, which has less, which one made crappy food, which one made good food, and you put us together. I'm like,
oh, you're so 3D.
What is the benefit of this? You know what I'm saying? It is a negative conference of projecting energy out. And like, yeah, no wonder they want you to buy stuff. This is how you look at it, right? This month, I'm done. I'm done with the Christmas thing. I'm done with buying into it. So you stress your butt out to buy all these gifts for all these people, and you want to forget that you forgot someone else. But all around, there's a lot of people forgetting about you. So there's a cycle, psychological BS.
People would spend so much money they'd be in debt for
right,
the next
exactly. Year. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to tell you, opening those gifts, doing all that expression, I'd say your high of that lasts about 2 seconds. And then you go, oh, look, now I got all this credit card debt that I didn't need. But I felt pressured into buying all these gifts. So, I mean, really looking beside that, and saying if they only see me is for a gift and they just can't have me around unless I bring something to them, that is not something you want to be in. That is not what you want to be serving. That's not something where you need to put your energy into. It's because society has taught that. And that is, I'm not participating in that situation anymore. I've decided no. So anyway.
Okay. The next one, this is a question when you were talking about the stars. I was visiting my sister-in-law. I haven't seen stars in New York City for a while now, but my sister-in-law was seeing stars and I couldn't see any. Any thoughts on that?
Okay, so is she, what I would be saying, the sister-in-law, is she awakened or asleep? So the question is sister-in-law, and haven't seen stars in New York City for a while now. But my sister-in-law sees stars.
Were they in the same place seeing,
So
one
that's the
season
whole
and one
thing. I
doesn't?
would be
Both of them are
asking
looking
if
up?
she's been working on her perception. This is what I'm telling you when I saw that picture they gave me in my head, 3D people. You'll be looking at the stars or looking up at something, looking at things in layers and 5Ds, and they'll be like, what are you looking at? I can't see that. So I know that this kind of a process is going to happen. I would be asking half awake sister-in-law. So maybe she's having a strong sense of what's there. Because you literally, to look at some of that, it's a focus, and you're adjusting your pineal gland to that view and looking at it in layers. So it depends on the person.
So somebody just said, I tell my sons they will soon realize I'm crazy and that I'll be there for them when they want to listen.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, because, I get that too, to some extent, that I'm a conspiracy theorist or.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, Mom, come on. You say this and it never happens.
Hey, I'm sorry. You're going to have an issue with them admitting that you're right. They're going to be like, don't talk about it. Don't bring it up. I'm just telling you.
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. Oh,
well,
funny.
when the tape rolls and they start to show this stuff for a whole year, that's all actors. That's not true. I just imagine that philosophy of that end of things, where the true story, the true stuff that's happened is fake, and then the fake stuff is real. It's confusion of things.
So yeah, we'll find out some of the things they told us were true, and the thing just the opposite. Yeah.
Right.
So this is a good thought. It's going to be amazing when we can move forward with our humanitarian projects and manifesting our world into a fabulous place, living in community and taking care of our fellow brothers and sisters. That's
and what that does to the
side
soul.
of the light.
What that energy of giving, there is a frequency with that when your life is like balanced enough that you want to give, you want to give, you know what I'm saying? And what can I do for you? What can I do for you? Because it's that human way of compassion. And, it's just if I have the extra energy and the extra time to give. And I think people that can't see that, they're very stuck in their own reality and saying, the only thing I need to do is serve thyself. No, it's not what the lesson you're here for. But those ones, and that's what I can see this part of. One day, I play that song all the time, and that all of us come as a collective and give the same amount of energy and find some way to help, whether it's oceans, whether it's forest, whether it's mountains, whether it's animals, in any way of that, you're going to find that path. That's because we haven't been told that, like, hey, that's what you need to focus on. That what can you give in humanity way? What can you give back in that way? Because we've been focused on just worry about your bills, your car payments, your insurance, you know what I'm saying? And occupy your mind with that. And now that is pushed away, okay, let's focus on humanity within you. What is that? What does that feel like? What do you feel that you can do in serving that for yourself every day?
Okay. Someone asked us, we already asked a question, will the healing pods be inside of hospitals as a billable service? They are not going to be billable. Everything
No
I've
billable.
Read. It's free. And it will
I kind of find it funny that there's a quantum system that's coming into play, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're going to stop right here, and then we're going to start charging you to fix the body that you've already paid millions of dollars already fixed from an old society, and then we're going to turn around and charge you again. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. After you
No.
poisoned our food, water, and air, now
No.
we got to pay to fix ourselves too, right?
No. That's what I'm saying. No.
No. I object. Okay. Question: what do you see around the Five Finger Lakes? Does it tie into Niagara Falls in any way?
I don't even know what
that's
I can tell you that I don't even know what the Five Finger Lakes are. And
well, I can tell you that Hunter Biden has them tattooed on his back. They have to do with,
I'm sure,
child trafficking.
I'm sure. Well, the only thing I can think of is massive drainage, moving water somewhere other place, or I would say
there's probably things that might be an area you might want to remote view or check out sometime if it hasn't been cleaned out already, which is possible.
Yeah, by the time I get started, it'll be done already. So it's probably a white hat project for the system.
Oh, here's a question about something you spoke on before. The gold oxygen that you spoke of under Israel. Can you speak on that more?
So, well, I show that there's levels, there's the library, there's the golden ages, there's the golden, like the gold. And when they showed me, they're saying, if man could have moved this, they would have done it a long time ago, but they can't. And how it got here was not by something that man has to these days, except that it would come from higher technology from a UFO, or when it was for the Anunnakis when it showed me. So they were showing me in this, is that a picture again? So like a garden, but in these cities of the Jerusalem, these Pacific slot looking things, there's Pacific blocks that are not easy to move. So what you do when you want to cover up something like that, you build churches on top of it and put a mound around it and put water through it too. I mean, the cover up on this is tremendous. And then I noticed all these pools that were around Jerusalem too, that and I think that those go back in the history of it. I think those were healing mechanisms in those pools too. So the gold, the way it looks, it's a different gold too. It has a higher heavenly gold look to it on that process too. So I think it's kind of funny. Well, it's too big to move. So what are we going to do since we can't take it with us? Well, I guess we'll just have to put dirt amount over it and bury it down in the ground until we figure out how we can remove it. Well, I could tell you humans are not going to be able to move it.
Somebody is asking, we kind of covered this already too. Sky Prince, I know who she is. I don't know, you might not. She talks about the med beds all the time. So they're rolling out in Europe. Well, I had information that there are trucks that have been moving them in the States from a pretty reliable source, but I can't say.
Yeah, I think it's all I think it's all at the same time, that at night at 2 a.m. rolling in big semis and trucks into hospitals. That's what I'm going to tell you. With white trailers and not having names or any brand on the side of them.
She is saying, unsure if it will happen. It could be another way to wake up the med bed, wake up a sleeper.
No, because when you go, what I've seen, I had a friend that they put her procedure, they put it off till the end of December. and they told her it's a new device. They're not saying the name. They're going to put her under, and it's non-surgical. So they're not using that name. They're using different names and then putting you through that. So just kind of nonchalant, putting you through these new systems, and then things are taken care of. So
I know they don't like the name medicine because it association with medicine, which has been actually demise of our health in many ways.
Advanced higher technology frequency machine. Advanced technology higher frequency machines.
Okay. Faye David is asking, what do you think the world will look like in 1 year?
High technology everywhere. Better, I mean, robotic is going to be an underestimate of how we can get along, how we see things, phones, how we can get one place to another. I've really been advanced on how we're going to travel. I believe that the airport system's been out of date for many, many decades. And I think that that's going to change. And I think it's going into the shithole on purpose sometimes, on the air travel on purpose, to show you how outdated it is, how bad it is, and how we're going to advance change in that. So I believe you're not looking at such big crafts, you're looking at smaller ones that hold a...
Well, they lied to us about all the fuel that they held, for one thing.
Right. Well, I don't think we need that in the future anyway either. So like I told people, what do I tell you to invest in? Gold, silver, and advanced technology. Tesla.
Yeah. If you have the resources to do so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always an issue too. That's why I didn't pay too much attention to Sky Prince talking about money too. Same with
there's no money.
A guy named Jared.
Money. I just don't agree with her on that process. Is the fact that there is a money transformation through that such a system, and I don't believe that.
It doesn't make sense when you think about it. If Nasara Gasara is real, and if all this technology is coming in, and why would we have to pay for it?
Right.
Unless somebody's trying to capitalize on it, which is
right. But again, you see a lot of her pages that are copied and brought into charging people, and they've been duped out of money. So just because it says it's her does not mean it's her. I would definitely get verification that it's her.
Yeah, there's a lot of imposters out there. They say they're one person and they're really not. Right. And you don't know which one's the real one and which one's not either. This is Aussie. I never had a credit card. I live fortnight to fortnight, and I'm happy with my life. I've never been about money all my life. Neither have I, but I do have a student loan.
You're going to wish you had credit cards. I'm going to tell you, you're going to wish you had credit cards because you could see them erase.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had some and they were maxed out and they all got erased. But I don't have, my credit, because of a student loan, I don't have any credit
right.
As far as, so they make your life very difficult too. And I know the scam behind the whole loan system too. A lot of people don't, and they say, well, you got signed on the dotted line, you need to pay it back. Blah, blah, blah. If you knew the fraud involved, it came out of my trust account from the get-go. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Okay, here's a question. 5D behaviors as experienced by a 3D person? Question mark.
5D behavior experienced by a 3D person.
I'm not sure what you...
well, I got one of them. You don't want to watch this program? You don't think this is like the greatest show? And there... A lot of 5D people will not watch TV anymore. That annoys the heck out of 3D. And
I can't even sit in front of it for any length of time. I can't. I don't know what happens. I just got to get up and do something, or I just.
Oh yeah, that is the thing that annoys them. And then another thing is bringing Biden is not real. Oh, the eyes roll, the twitching. It goes into another whole process of situation, and those are some, I would say, ticks. They start to have ticks when you bring that up. Oh! Don't forget that the biggest one is Hollywood's sick and they're all pedophiles. Oh no, that is another. Let's talk about the ticks of the 3D from hearing that process. So there are so many, and I call them ticks because it does get them to react like their program's dysfunctioning on the 3D. So the 5D behavior is walking through the fire and knowing what's going on, and they don't go to Google. They want to do their own research. They read books. They are, especially when it comes to their healing, they are looking at everything naturopathic down the core of the line. And one of them.
Some of us won't even go to that doctor.
No, I'll go to the doctor and say, what was that? And then I'm looking at my thing saying, what is that naturopathic thing? Okay. I said, all I needed to know what it was so I can go the opposite end of what you say. So that's what I did. So yeah, they don't go to the doctor. They're not interested in what the doctor has to say, just to get information and do the opposite end of things and find a natural remedy for that.
Requires you to do a little research.
They don't go to church. They do meditation. They find their own intuition, right? I'm just telling you, she's talking about these. So that's another one that they go. And then, here's another one. We do not eat the processed fake food. We will not go through drive-through of McDonald's.
I don't like human meat, by the way, anyway. And many of the fast food restaurants have been accused of that, believe it or not. But anyway.
Right. And one of the biggest ones of the awakening is the fact that when the shepherds it drops truth bombs, we're all listening. And the 3D is very upset and almost bulges. They turn red or their neck goes in ballistic for watching those shows and getting information. So 5D people will take their time to figure out the puzzle. 3D people want something to tell them what they need to do, how they need to think, where they need to go. I know a lot of 5D people, they will put knives in their eyes before they do anything that is forced upon them. Look at what happened in the last 3 years. Nope, sorry.
Your dog wants to go outside.
No, she wants to eat again. That is the problem.
Oh, okay. I thought she was scratching
another dinner.
There.
So she gets jealous over everything. She does.
Oh, she wants attention. Yeah. What about me, Mom?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the way she is.
Okay.
So yeah, those are some of the behaviors. And then what you are going to see a different behavior is next week when things go down. There's a silence that they're going to be into. They're going to be quiet for a while, and then they're looking for something on the media to tell them how to react to it. And there's not going to be. It's like this is a process where you start to think on your own. And so
you
I don't
have
know.
To consider the things that they're told or that they find out, and go,
right.
Wow.
Right. So we're going to find out.
Okay, here, this one is asking, can you give an update on the financial system? There's a lot of speculation about next pivotal.
Huh? Pivotal.
I don't know exactly what that What you mean by that,
Financial,
Melanie?
there is going to be a spectrum about next being. I don't know either. She'll have to.
Yeah, you have to rephrase that question. I don't get it. Okay, now this she's asking why a med bed in a hospital, because where else could they put them right now? They're not going to build whole new.
I know they're not going to do that, and they're not. They don't take that much room.
And
The upper level.
I guess it's because there's a setup there,
Right.
and it'll probably go in clinics too, but initially
I believe it's almost like the same room you would have an MRI in. You would see the same type,
like
different
that,
type of system, but you would not as much as magnetic as that is. But yeah,
I have no idea if it's going to have an ICD-9 code.
These are.
I doubt it, because that most of that coding is for the purpose of billing.
3D, yeah. I just don't. No.
Okay, here's another. It's at your own risk. Will we be able, Jenny? Will we be able to travel in 2024 with mail trains? I don't know what you mean.
I think those trains. I think they're talking about
mag level trains.
Yeah, I know what they're talking about, and I've seen them. Like if you see futuristic cities and the trains are above and all that stuff. So yes, I do believe that those are. Because those have to do with energy again, and the way they're instead of at the bottom, they show me at the top of how they work on things. So yeah, it's well,
for a while I heard that. I don't know if it's true or not, though. It was supposedly working on some type of hovercraft.
I
don't know.
No comment on him.
I know. He's full of himself. Oh, here's somebody's correcting this and saying here that Sky Prince always says med beds will be absolutely free.
Yeah.
She has many scammers that pretend to be her.
Yeah.
The ones that are asking for money are not the real her.
Yeah, because I have talked to her and she's never said money to me or even said anything about that. So that her, especially her personality, doesn't fit that. So I'm just telling you that there's scammers out there.
Okay, let's see. Oh, don't go to the dentist. She said that. I know why she's saying that. Dr. Anna and some other doctors have found nanotech in anesthesia for dental anesthetics. Let me see. Well, this one person says they don't want a doctor because they'll prescribe something. They feel like they're doing something for you. If you have a certain condition, there's a certain pill that goes with it, that kind of thing. So anyway, well, I'm trying to scroll faster, but did you say everything that you wanted to say about?
I think everything is pretty good right now. I just, like I said, the shutdown for the media on big labels and big product pushers seeing the true ones that are behind them, or you're going to see it. So.
Okay, let me see. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions here. Okay, we have somebody wanting to clarify. Oh. Let me see if this one makes sense to you. Jen, will 2024 still be 3D enough that there will be a call to all same continent, like a pull?
They're sitting in the middle on that. So there's going to be continents that change, and some are going to appear, and some are going to disappear. So.
Well, I hope I'm not on the one that disappears.
So the one? Well, I believe there's some things that are going to surface like I said this the other day, like everybody's seeing these new Stonehenge, and I told people islands will appear, some will disappear, and then I believe our histories come into the surface.
Okay.
Keep your eye on
Just
it.
to clarify,
Antarctica, I'd be looking at that and Google and be watching what's melting and what's everything that's appearing over there. I would really keep your eye on Antarctica.
okay, just to clarify, apologies. There's a lot of chatter that the financial system will go down next week. Any truth to this? Maybe.
I go by energy, and I already believe that we're in it. Like I said, there's a 4D.
It's already happening.
Yeah, so.
That's why the banks are closing.
Yep.
Here's one insight on why some star seeds have to move all the time. Is it a mission work? Is it mission work or a task?
It has to do, I think it has to do with our energy, how it advance and change. And then it's just like a magnet where we're supposed to be and where we feel a balance with the energy. And then as we advance and grow out of things, we have to go to a different perception in a different area. And our job is to do some different process than we've already grown out of. So we're like podiums of light. It changes, the light and the frequency changes.
Because in the galaxy, who else uses a financial system?
Well, I did a map on the quantum system here on Earth, and I saw one I have a whole design I did that. It's called the Universal Line. It has that in the universal system. And so I saw it was in off our planet too. So galaxy in many forms.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Well, I guess the last one is just a comment, and then we'll probably want to go, huh? Everything will be mirrored is what I hear. Baddies might make it look worse than what it is.
Yeah. Well, if they unplug the program, you don't have to worry about looking at it. Just let it happen.
Things could, the change could be very drastic. Somebody compared it to if 9/11 was I think they said a 1 or 2. It must have been higher than that. But anyway, like what's going to happen is like a 13. Like there's going to be a big. I mean, it's going to be big to people. The change.
Stand in the fire.
And don't let it bother you.
Stand in the fire and do not be in fear. Just bear the witness of these times. And then you've just got to say, okay, this is supposed to happen, and don't go into that fear process, because there will be people around you that will be losing their minds. And if you're standing in there and knowing what to expect, you're going to be fine. Just walk through the ashes. Because there's something good behind it.
It has to happen.
Yes. So here we are.
Yeah.
So if anybody needs to get a hold of me, I think you have my website at the bottom. Setting up classes, readings, remote viewing, missing persons. I'm doing more of those now. Back on the list of adding more.
If they're the ones that just disappeared, you're going to have a hard time finding them.
Right. And then
off the planet, that is.
intuitive class, mediumship class, and then the so and I call it more of an intuitive for they're finding their path through humanity. A lot of people are calling me on that, just like what's going to be my next process. So I do that one-on-one too. So we're just getting to a process of everybody's like, I need to know, I need to know, I need to know. And so I relay that in the way it needs to be seen.
All right. Well, unless you have anything else you want to say in particular.
Yeah. Just stand in the fire and watch the ashes burn. And everything will be okay.
Just know it has to happen. And when it does, things can only get better.
3D has to burn to the ground.
Exactly. All righty then. Thank you, Jenny, for your time and energy and filling us in on your latest insights. That's always fun. And thank you, audience, for being here. And
Thank you, guys. Stay in the light.
Yes, please stay in the light. And Jenny and I'll see you again in a week or two.
Okay, take care.
Take care, everyone. And again, Jenny's information is in the description, her website, and you can find everything there. So, and I might add, I do have some affiliate links, and I'm not trying to push products, but I do need help. So if you can try anything, they're really good. And I think because they were about the money, it was because they're about real healing tools for you to use and improve your health. It's really helpful to be healthy right now. Because
it is.
Because we are going through a lot and seeing a lot. And so being in your best condition is a good idea right now. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you again, Jenny. Stay in the light.
Stay in the light. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers, stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now. Don't look back now. Stand with each other. We are sisters and brothers, finding our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and seize the moment. Hold on tight and don't let go of all your hopes and dreams that light the way. We control our fate. Destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide. We'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show